Meeting order. We all rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you everybody for being here tonight. Please remind you to silence your phones if you have them on or any electronic devices. Has everybody had an opportunity to review and read the minutes from our February 6th County Council meeting? If so, are there any additions or corrections that need to be made? Is there a motion to approve?
If there are no additions and corrections, I move to approve the minutes as received.
Second.
A second, any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes from our February 6th meeting, please do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Send that down for your signatures, please. Did anybody receive any mail that they'd like to share with the council? Okay. If not, move on to our county attorney. We need to start bringing something just so you can talk. All right, thank you.
Yep.
I'm sure that we don't have any committee reports at this time, but I know the finance committee, we're getting this together shortly to put together a report. And since Dale's our chair in that, I'll let him, if you have a time frame or.
Well, I'd like to give our report at our meeting next month.
Okay.
So I'll be asking you and Shirley for your most convenient times and dates to meet. We need to have at least a couple of meetings. I've been working on collecting raw data. And so we'll get to that as soon as you two can give me some dates if you're available.
Okay. Holly is not here, so we don't have anything from there. Commissioners representative. Leota, Madam President.
I don't have anything to say.
Thank you. Moving on, under old business, we had tabled this at our last meeting. It was an invoice from the Indiana Association of County Council dues in the amount of $140. Appreciate Jane reaching out and finding out what that was. Each of you should have received an email explaining what those dues were for. So at this point, the council needs to make a decision whether they want to pay it or not pay it.
I move to pay it.
Second.
We have a motion to pay it. Kay, did you second? We have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the invoice for the County Council, Indiana Association of County Council dues, in the amount of $140, please do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Under new business, the library annual report. Not here yet?
No.
I thought I saw one of them.
I thought I did too.
Well,
They knew they were supposed to be here at 6 o'clock, so.
She was here.
we'll go into Mr. Caldwell. Hey, David.
Thank you. I wasn't on the agenda, but thanks for sticking me in.
Dale threatened me.
Pardon?
Dale threatened me.
Oh, okay. He might threaten me in a minute. I want you to give us permission to hire another county employee. I'd already warned Dale about this, that's why he's not throwing anything. But we could use a part-time staff person for the Soil and Water Conservation District Board. This is about the Soil and Water Conservation District. And of course, the funding had to be removed for a staff person we had a long time ago for good reasons. But we'd like to get a part-timer back. And The way it can be paid for is, it sounds, well, let me pass this out, and I'll tell you what it says. The Indiana Clean Water Act will match funds that are expended for operations of the Soil and Water Conservation District Board up to $10,000. We're well under that. We presently get, since you folks have been good enough to budget us for some of our programs, we presently get some of that now, and we, sure enough, Clean Water compensates us, matches those funds that you provide us. So we'd be doing the same thing. If we hire a part-time staff person, and by part-time person, I mean someone who is an hourly wage, they're not getting benefits other than the hourly pay. If you hire them, then we, with the matching funds from the Clean Water Indiana, will then compensate you for that. It sounds like money laundering to me. I couldn't believe that you could do it, but I've confirmed that it's permissible through the State Board of Accounts and through the Lee Harmon, who administers the Clean Water Indiana Fund. And in fact, several counties are doing this now. So I'd like your permission to start looking for a part-time person that could be suitable to do the kind of things we need to do.
How many part-time hours are you looking at?
I'm sorry?
How many part-time hours and what time?
4 to 6 a week. I think, what is the maximum, 28 hours or something like that a month? Is that correct?
Is it correct, Jane?
It's
What?
28 for us, but 30 according to.
Yeah, we would keep it under that.
28.
But just 4 to 6 hours a week from someone who could be in our office, man the phone, be dependably there, give a face to the public, do some bureaucratic work we need to do that I found out that we didn't know how to do properly because the State Board of Accounts got mad at me. And then do a lot of public outreach. It would help us a lot. Now, when the funding was cut, when our staff person, Gretchen Ray, who was very experienced, when we had to terminate with her, and again, for good reasons, I totally understand why it was done. It had a good effect in that it forced the board to learn more about what we do. Gretchen had been doing it, and we have had to pick up the ball. But now we're starting to have a little burnout, and we could sure use a staff person. So I hope you can, if we need to iron out some details, if we can do it, but need to iron out some details, we sure want to work with you on it. Oh, yeah, here's one other thing. This is a little bit about the clean water, just a little summary of what the Clean Water Fund does, what it all backs up.
Thanks, sir.
One of the things we would keep in mind is we'll maintain enough funding in our bank account to cover it if something happened and Clean Water was terminated. If that happened, we'll make sure we have enough funding to cover the county payment for this person. Up to, well, if that happened, we'd end up having to terminate them, but we'd make sure they got paid and that the county got paid. So the net result for the county would be no cost, other than there may be a period of time where you'd be carrying us until we've got the money to compensate for. So I'm not asking for a decision this minute. I understand this is a little bit of a unique thing, but, and maybe there's some, I better give you some of this too, I know, I'm sorry. But I would like to get the wheels rolling on this.
David, do you have a timeline established when you'd like to start this?
Not really. There's no deadline. I want to get the right person, a good person, who wants to do this. And then there'll be some training. They won't be able to just jump in and do it. There's some requirements that the state will require for them to be trained on. And but no, we don't have a deadline. I just would like to get going. And the main thing is to find the right person, a person who wants to do this kind of thing. Union County has a person now that we might consider, but right now they do Union County's work at night. They do it in the same office we would be in there at the USDA office. But I don't want somebody at night. I want somebody that's there during the day where they can meet people. So if she can't do it then, we'll find somebody else.
You know, you and I talked about this a month ago. And let me see if I remember things right. You as Soil and Water bill Indiana Clean Water. Is that
Yes,
right?
well, we don't bill them. We show evidence that a municipal authority has paid money that benefits us. In other words, the salary for this person that's what the salary would represent. We show Clean Water that has been paid, then they'll compensate us, and then we'll turn around and compensate the county.
Okay. So the county would basically be fronting about the first month or so of salary,
Yes.
and then we'd be reimbursed.
We actually, the Clean Water funds us once a year, but we can do it that way. We have enough funding in the bank account we have right now. We have enough funding where you could bill us monthly or show us the bill monthly, and we would pay that every month. And then at the end of the year, we turn all that into to the Clean Water, and they'll give us the whole lump sum. So it works out.
Well, we've got other people that are paid in similar ways around here. So it's
Oh, good.
I mean, it's sort of like yours is sort of like a delayed grant,
Yeah.
I would say. But I understand your need, and I have no objection whatsoever to it. The details would have to be worked out between your organization and the county auditor
Yeah.
and the billing process.
Okay.
But I understand why you need someone up there to make your calls and do that sort of stuff.
We'd be a lot more effective.
Yeah.
And with no cost to the county, I think it's a pretty good thing to do. We just have to work out the details. And if you're already doing this process in some way, well, we may as well mimic whatever's being done.
Do you already have David, do you already have a skill set you're looking for in the person?
I'm sorry.
Do you already have a skill set you're looking for in this person?
Yeah, although I need to define it better. We'd need someone who's personable. There's a certain amount of administrative stuff that has to be done that I found out I'm not good at. Because like I said, the SBO, the State Board of Accounts got mad at me for some things. We just need somebody that's more capable of handling financial stuff like that. And then planning events and reaching, and mainly contacting people and letting them know what we're doing and inviting them to the things we're doing, or the activities I'd see happening. And that's got to be confined within 4 to 6 hours a week, so we may be asking more than we can get, but if we can get 4 to 6 hours, that'll help a lot.
But your cap is 10,000, correct?
Oh yeah, I don't anticipate getting that. I was thinking 4 to 6 hours for someone that I would think we'd be in the, I don't know, $10 to $12 an hour range. I don't know. That doesn't get to 10,000. That combined with the budget that y'all allow us, we'd still be under 5,000. So we would not be eating the whole pie anyway.
I don't have any problem with it.
It's a great idea.
I wish I'd thought of it sooner, but I didn't think of it because it seems so weird. But they let us do it, so we better do it. If you'll let us, if you can work it out.
It sounds to me like you have a consensus here, David. But
Well,
before we could do anything, I think there's some things that we would have to have before you could actually get started.
mhm.
The auditor would need a 144 for
Yeah.
the employee.
Now,
And what else would you need, Jane? You would need to establish some procedure for billing, wouldn't you? And I don't know what that would be. right now.
We could get
Just
together.
just tell me what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you pay people? Is it monthly,
Bi-weekly.
bi-weekly? If we got a copy of that, that would do it.
Yeah. Yeah, like I can get together with her and give him salary schedule, payroll, vouchers, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Are you guys approving him?
I don't know. Do you want to vote on whether to have him proceed?
I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. I think that's a good idea.
Okay, I'll make a motion. I'll move that we ask Mr. Caldwell to proceed with his project to put a part-time employee in place in soil and water conservation. And then as soon as we work out the details, we can approve 144 for his part-timer and get you going.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for Mr. Caldwell to proceed with what he needs to establish his person, he has 144 in place and so forth. We have a second, is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of approving this motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you very much, that'll be a big help. And if you know of someone that needs something to do in the afternoon, why, we'd be interested. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I'm still not here, so we'll go on with the consultants that are coming to, I've met with Jeff Peters and Andrew Lanham, is it last week? Week before? Couple weeks ago. And they talked to me about some ideas that they have over the county, areas they might be able to help us. And I thought it would be a good idea for them to come and make a presentation to us. Each of you should have received an email tonight. It's got a PDF in it that's kind of a sample packet of what Mr. Peters is going to present to us tonight. Each of you has one here by you that I made one for every other person. You can share it. Go ahead, just do what you can.
Okay.
So if you, without further ado, I'll let you go to the podium and.
Thanks for the opportunity to talk to you tonight. My name's Jeff Peters. I'm with Peters Municipal Consultants, and we serve as financial advisors and consultants for different units throughout the state of Indiana, cities, towns, counties, redevelopment districts, etc. One of the core things of our practice that I think would benefit you, as it benefits pretty much any other fiscal body, is we develop fiscal plans where we'll look at both the operational and capital needs of a unit of government. We'll go into the different funds that are reviewed by the Department of Local Government Finance. We'll forecast revenues. We'll reconstruct the maximum levies that you're allowed to levy, project those going forward. We'll look at your income taxes and come up with a revenue model that you can then look at and make policy decisions as you go forward about expenditures and about different projects. We've been doing this this will be my 23rd year of consulting and building these types of plans for different units of government. And I always see that the fiscal body has those questions of, well, you know, can we do this? Can we hire these employees? Can we build this project? How is it best that we're going to fund this? What's it going to look like 3 years down the road if we do this today? And those are the types of questions that really get answered throughout these fiscal plans. So in developing those, we like to talk to the fiscal body about what are your needs in the future? What are your goals? What are your policy goals, whether they be fixed tax rates or other items that you have coming before you that you have problems with? And I know that you have some jail issues, as most counties in the state have, that they're dealing with them. So one big component of a fiscal plan like this that you can use is what are your options for funding the project like a jail or anything else that you're going to do along those lines? And what are your options to do it, whether they be property tax, income tax, looking at your existing revenue streams and how you can use those monies to go toward either a building project or operations. And all those things we can lay into this model so that as you go forward, you'll have a document that you can see where you've come from, where you're at today, and how you're going to achieve these things that you want to achieve. It also serves as a great tool for the public because you can present parts of that fiscal plan. There will be tax impacts built into it so that you can see, well, what does a typical homeowner actually pay for the services that they receive? If we implement certain strategies or policies going forward, what are the costs associated with that? How does it look to the taxpayer, and how does it solve the problems that you have as a community? But I would encourage you look through that pamphlet a little bit. If you're inclined, go to our website, look at some of what we do, and we'd be happy to sit down and talk with you about doing a fiscal plan for you. I think that would be something that would be most beneficial to start your process and to give you a lot of information, like I say, as the fiscal body that you can help make good, prudent, long-term decisions on. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
How much would that cost?
A fiscal plan for a county your size, probably going to be a little bit under $20,000. You know, one of the things, we are competitors with the firms such as Umball. One of the things that we pitch is we're a small firm where we have 2 partners and that's it. So you get partner level type people at what would be a significantly reduced cost of the other big consulting firms. You know, they have to feed 100 underlings. We just have to feed the 2 of us. We do give a lot of hands-on and a lot of what I think is in-depth attention to our clients. We've got about 30 or 35 clients across the whole state. We do have 4 counties that we do and maintain fiscal plans for and have for a long time. They're Steuben, Noble, DeKalb, and LaGrange up in the northeast corner. And then we have clients from time to time where we'll do bond issues for them, serve as financial advisors, or do special projects. But those 4 we've done as ongoing projects in the fiscal planning, and they can kind of give you some perspective as to how that's beneficial, how they use it for decision making.
I mean, I have a lot of questions since they just got the PDF today, and most of them haven't had a chance to look at it because they were on their way here. And they just got the documentation today, so.
And feel free to give me a call. I answer my own phone. And yeah, any questions that you have, anything that you want to talk about, just call and we'll chat.
Have you done other counties with, that in financial straits, so to speak, like ours, and with the jail problem like what we have?
Yeah, and you know, probably my most recent and best example is DeKalb County. When we went into DeKalb County, it's probably been 6 or 7 years ago, they had no cash balances. They had eaten $2 or $3 million in cash balance within the prior 2 or 3 years. They were completely upside down on their budgets. We went through, developed a fiscal plan, talked about how far upside down they were, how they were going to get there. They chose to make a lot of significant cuts to their operations, but then they also came to the realization that they had to increase income taxes. So they went up the smallest amount that they could for a public safety income tax to bridge that gap and start to restore their cash balance, because they knew they had upcoming jail issues or bond issue problems where they were going to get dinged on their bond rating if they did not have sufficient cash and be able to show the bond rating agencies that they have management of their operations under control. So where they went in the general fund from by nothing, I say, I think they were under $300,000 a year in cash at the end. Today, they're up above 3 million, which is, I think it's about a 20% operating balance for them. They really should, have funds all combined at about 30%. So they're still on that target to get there. Their jail problem, they have decided today that they are going to do a large community corrections structure in about the $8 million range and try and alleviate some of their jail issues through the community corrections program first, and then capture or finish up the jail project secondly. But yeah, we've worked with people, and not only counties, but cities and towns that have no money. And a lot of times, when you do your yearly stuff of your budget and going before the DLGF, there's no foresight in that document. You're making decisions for this year and pretty much this year alone. Now, if you can equalize revenue and expenditure, you're probably sustainable somewhat going forward. But it does not have the good foresight that a fiscal plan will provide you, where you can be comfortable that the decision you make today is good for years going out into the future and is sustainable in meeting your goals.
Well, this fiscal plan you talked about, do you customarily, do you design a 2-year program, a 5-year program?
We typically do 3. If you have needs or something that you're going to do something specific that I need to look at 5 years into the future, then we'll go 5 years out into the future just to make sure that we don't have a short-sighted decision.
Does this county have a population similar to ours?
I'm not sure. I don't look a whole lot at populations because they're not, the revenue from the county is not necessarily population driven. It's more from the assessed value and income tax based sides. But they are rural counties. I'm not sure. I think they're probably in the 30,000 people range.
Well, city, county here, we're about 23.
Okay. So, yeah, might be comparable.
When we had lunch, I didn't sugarcoat our economic situation here, our financial situation, correct me if I'm wrong. And I told them we're struggling. We're one of the highest, if not the highest county taxed. And he brought up the public safety tax, and I said that's personally that's something I'm in favor of, because I don't know how much more we can tax people in this county. We got to look at other avenues, I think, and that's where I thought they might come in handy to see what those other avenues are that maybe we're not seeing. So, like I said, I asked them to come in and make a presentation to us and review the documentation that he's provided, that they provided to us, and see if there's something maybe we can work together on. Go from there.
Thank you for the opportunity.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
The library board is here now, so you're up.
Good evening. I'm Melissa Scott, the Assistant Director with the Fayette County Library, and Betsy Slavens is our Director who's passing out the forms. I apologize for being late this evening. As we all know, sometimes things do not go as we anticipate, so I truly apologize. I'm always excited to come to the County Council and share what the library has done for the past year. And on the top sheet of paper that you received, this is our circulation and library use report. We loaned 136,927 items to our public. Per capita, that is 4 books per person. We have really increased our use of our internet and wireless usage to the library. This year we have over 11,000 hits on our Wi-Fi. So that's 11,000 people that have come into the building to use it. one of the, what I always consider kind of impressive figure for our community, being how small we are, we had over 128,000 visits to the library. Some libraries our size have a little less, and some libraries have a little bit more, but really, I think that shows that our library is being used. But I know my favorite page, and I know this is Dale's favorite page, is the third page, which is the value of the library to our community. Our library has a budget of around $977,000 each year that we can use to provide things like new books or videos or services and programmings. But last year we did, in just circulation of materials, $3,581,000 worth of business. And in our programs, we served our community to about $52,000 worth, just for less than $1 million. These figures are based on the amount of circulation each item has, and also is what it would cost you to go out and purchase said items. For instance, I'm a librarian. I use the library a lot, but I like to own my own books sometimes too. So if you went to a big bookstore, you would pay about $24 for a good hardback book if you're lucky. Sometimes there are more than that. So we saved a lot of people a lot of money from having to go to the store and buy them. Just books alone was $2,292,000.
Okay. The next sheet is probably going to be just an overview of our online resources. These are the databases that we subscribe to, that we buy for the library, and they kind of hit all over to whatever interest. If you are interested in ebooks or e-audiobooks, we have Overdrive. We have that is a huge thing. People are in the car, they don't necessarily want to listen to the radio, but they can pull up their phone, they can pull up Overdrive and log in and listen to a book on their way to work or on their traveling, and it doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you have a Wi-Fi connection, you can access that, so that's pretty cool. We have access to Ancestry, which a lot of people are interested in genealogy and doing genealogical work. So we do have that database as well. Two of our new services that we just got this year is Wowbrary, and Wowbrary is basically what it does is it pulls out all of our new materials and sends it to you in an email blast every week. I think they email about 4 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays.
Yes.
So just in time for you to wake up early on a Saturday morning and hit the library right when we open at 9. People do that. We want people to do that. Anyway, and so that's pretty neat. And so that is one way that we're reaching out. And then another new thing that we have is your next piece of paper here, which is about our online magazine subscription. It used to be called Senior, if anyone has ever heard of that, but now it's called RB Digital, Recorder Books Digital. And basically we have a subscription to about 50 of the most popular magazines in the States. So if you're at the doctor's office again and you see that grimy copy of Newsweek and you're thinking, I don't think so, you can read it on your phone, on your tablet, anything that you have internet access with. And again, those are all available with your library card, which is free. So that's another new thing that we just started offering and we're really jazzed about. And then our last page is our calendar. We have all kinds of things going on in the month of March, all kinds of children's activities. We have a new young adult book club. I think they're doing a Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So, if you've read it and you want to come talk about it, you can hit us up on, let's see here, the 21st there. Yeah, 5:30. I expect to see you all there. We've got maker spaces for children. We've got the Creative Kids Writing Clubs. We've got adult book clubs if you're not into the YA stuff. We've got mystery books. We've got Christian fiction books. And then we also have the fiber artists who come in every Friday at noon and knit for a while or crochet or do whatever their fiber leads them to do, you know. So we have lots of things going on. We have lots of great plans for summer reading. Summer reading is a good time to bring your children down to the library so that they don't have the summer slide, so that they don't lose any fluency in their reading. What else have we got, Melissa?
And we're doing summer reading for children's a little bit different. Usually, we're going to still do weekly programs, but we're doing camps during the summer too. We're going to have 1 week that's Lego camp, because we know all kids love Legos. We have 1 week that's robotics and coding for those kids who really want to learn how to code or play with the robots. We have an art camp, and then we are going to hopefully have a theater camp. And what we're thinking is if we do it 4 days in a row, they'll learn something and have a lot of fun to show for it. But I also want to remind the County Council that on July 12th, we will be having our 4th annual Community Youth Day at the park. For those who are not aware of it, Community Youth Day is sponsored by the library and many businesses in our community. It is completely free to our kids and their family. The food's free, the game's free, the entertainment's free. During the day, we are going to have touch vehicles there so the kids can get on the big vehicles that they never get on and blow the horn on a semi-truck and school bus usually. We also will have Newport Aquarium is going to be there with penguins where you can see them and touch them. And then that evening we will be having a concert that's free to the community, and then everybody's welcome, don't have to be a kid. The food will have a small price at that event because it's going to be a fundraiser for some of our nonprofits in the community. It's Allie Colleen, and if you don't know her, she is Garth Brooks' daughter. So, and from what I've heard of her on TV and on the radio, she is really, really good. So we are really looking forward to our 4th annual Community Youth Day event, and I really hope that everybody can be there to support our kids. And Andy, does anybody have any questions for us?
Can I add a little string to your ribbon?
Yes, please.
Okay. I would speak up for the library, public library, even if I wasn't on the library board. But since I am, I know a little bit about what goes on there. And I'm proud of the fact that we do have over 14,000 registered borrowers at the library. But, you know, libraries are evolving like many other organizations. And more services are available to you through the library, and you don't have to leave home to use them. You can get online and tap into services that we provide at the library from home or from your phone. We don't see foot traffic is not as heavy at the brick building as it once was, and I think that's one reason why. But you know, to provide over $3.5 million worth of retail service on a budget less than $1 million a year, that is one thing I think that we can justify to the taxpayers that they are getting their money's worth for the 12-cent tax levy that we pay to the library. And I'm really proud of that page, Melissa. I like that part best. That's a bargain for your money.
Yeah.
I wish we could say that here in this building.
That is actually the page I always enjoy doing of this report. So.
Yeah, well, we've given this library annual report here since 2012, and this is a convenient venue for them to get what we do out in front of the public, and hopefully the newspaper picks up on it and gives us a little plug there. But I work with these two at the library. They do a pretty good job of putting up with me. So if they can do that, they're doing what they're supposed to, I guess. That's all I will say. I'm a little bit biased on the side of the library.
It's a good bias.
Yes, it is.
Well, thank you for your presentation. Unfortunately, I have to inform you that we'll have to charge you a modest or late fee for being over here.
You know?
I deserve that
Yeah. You know, what about even we have a grace period. I mean, come on now. But we'll
So
take the
annoying.
15 cents a minute, yeah.
Well, you got the great, you guys do a great job. Thank you for what you do.
Thanks,
Well,
Mike.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Liz.
I like the idea of the late fee.
Okay, moving on to additional appropriations. Probation Department.
Good evening. I'm just asking for additionals for the administrative assistant. Originally, I'd put in for the difference between the grant salary and the raises, but I believe we've come up with another solution with that, so I don't have to ask for additionals. So, basically, the administrative assistant position was created through the Department of Corrections grant. It was actually the very first position that was ever awarded to us. And I had intended to do salary raises with that through the Community Corrections Board, which is the same way that Community Corrections does this. And got an email in December. The Department of Corrections got a new director. Up until December, I was told that in order to do any salary increases, as long as we had it approved by the board, if we had money left over in fringe, that it could be transferred to that salary. So that's what I've been planning on doing all along. Found out in December we can't do that. So the position that Jeff Coleman has, who does an excellent job, he didn't receive any raises from like the general county did, and he's not going to get any out of the grant because I can't use that money for raises and salary for that. So I am requesting an additional out of the salary reimbursement of the probation circuit court fund. So it would be covered by probation user fees. I'm asking for $2,000 because I think he's worth $2,000. The administrative assistant, it does way more than clerical. He is responsible for weekly, monthly, biannual, annual reports in order for us to keep the Department of Corrections grant. He has created a collection of data that we have to report for that grant. He interprets that data. He really just goes above and beyond. So basically, I'm just asking just for him, for the difference, because he doesn't get a raise in either. He's in that gap where he's never going to get a county general raise and he's never going to get the grant raise, and he deserves a raise. So, is there any questions?
Jenna, we talked about this earlier today.
Right.
You feel that he will never get a grant raise?
No, you can't use that grant money after it's been awarded for any raises in the salary. You can't use anything, you can't transfer from fringe benefits. So like in community corrections, when Michelle does her raises, she does that from her project income. So she gets their base salary through the grant, and then any raises that she would have, she pays for that out of project income, which to me, probation user fee would be equivalent to our project income. And I did, when I thought that I was going to do the raise through the grant, I did get approved through the Community Corrections Board a salary schedule. And basically, I just copied what Michelle had approved for her administrative assistant position. And that would be anywhere with the minimum being $25,000 and the top pay scale being $32,100. Jeff currently gets the 25,000. So I'm asking to use our probation user fees to pay for an increase in pay for him.
You're saying that when your grant will be, when does this grant cycle that he's being paid from now, when does it end?
It ends on June 30th.
Okay, and you will reapply for the grant, correct?
Yeah, we've already applied. I don't think we've heard back yet whether we've got it or not.
And they told you that there was a possibility of a raise, is that correct?
I can put in there for the raise, but they're not giving any raises. They're staying at, once you get a position, they're staying at the base salary.
Is that, you're talking about not only, you're talking about statewide?
Yes. I'm talking about from Department of Corrections
From
grant.
the DOC, right?
Yeah, their base salary, once you get your base salary, that sets your base salary. And you'll not get any more for that.
So you're saying the grant cycle you're saying is if he worked for 20 years, he's going to work for the same salary. They're not going to allow any raises whatsoever?
Correct. $25,000, that is all that's going to be awarded for that position now that we have the base pay.
How long has he done this position? How long has he?
And that's the thing too, I've not had to worry about that yet. That's why I haven't already done a salary increase through the grant. He's had a year in. Alana was the first person, and just shy of a year, she took a position at Community Corrections because they get raises. And so then I had to hire Jeff to take her place. So he has been here a year.
Still have to do additional.
I intended to give him the raise in January. That was his anniversary date, was in January. That's what I would have done had I been able to transfer that money from fringe benefits, because we have money in fringe benefits. I just can't use it for that.
But this position isn't covered under the same as the probation employee schedule that the state dictates.
Correct.
But he's under the same grant as the additional probation officers that were hired a couple of years ago, correct?
Correct.
Will they get raises?
We are going to pay their wages out of administrative fees, which is collected, and it was specifically set up to pay for the salary increases in pay. Jeff doesn't fall under that because he's not a probation officer. And you have to use that money by statute only for probation officer salaries. Welcome to the grant world.
Does he have to have that title?
Well, that's how the grant was written. It's actually administrative assistant / community corrections liaison. I just call it administrative assistant.
Yeah.
He really is integral to us maintaining that grant. I mean, the grant is $171,000 is what we're getting. And really, the majority of his work is related to that, meeting those grant requirements.
You probably sense a little hesitation. I mean, I guess the fact is we're giving an employee who's been here a year a $2,000 raise, and we've got others that we can't afford to give that kind of a raise to. That's part of my hesitation. I have a copy of the minutes on the advisory board, and I made the motion to actually give him a raise, but it was pursuant to the quote, pursuant to the allowed community corrections grant, unquote. So.
And at the time that I did that vote, that was the intention. That was in October. In December, they got a new director, and that director sent out an email saying you absolutely could not use fringe benefits to increase the salary. So up until December, we could have. That's why I went to the board in October and asked for the salary schedule and did all that. I think you might have a copy of that email too that was sent with you. It's from Kristen Banchbaugh. Did you guys get a copy of that email?
I don't remember one, no.
I thought we had put it in the information that was sent to you on that.
Jenna, I'm no longer a part of the Wage and Salary Committee for the council. I think Kay and Holly, you too, Frank? And I don't know whether they have or have not met. When I was part of it and chair, that would be something that we would certainly want to take under advisement and maybe come back with a recommendation based on all of the information that could then make a recommendation one way or the other to the council. I don't know, again, I'm not part of that committee this year, but it does, like Frank says, the history of wage increases in the county has always been, it's a rocky road, and it's very difficult when their funds are just not available.
Right, and I expected that. I mean, I've heard that before. I just believe that we are using it from our project income, and we're covering that with probation user fees that we collect. And I think that he has a very specialized position. He's listed as clerical on job description, and I actually don't agree with that. To me, it's professional. He has to have continuing education. He has a higher level of responsibility than, clerical to me is reception, answering phones, typing. He does none of that. He does way above that. He's actually creating data, interpreting data, doing reports. He can make decisions. He's not just doing your rote. And I understand what you're saying, and I did expect that. I did 2 144s. I did one for 1,000 and one for 2,000, and at minimum, I would ask that he at least get the 1,000 that the rest of the county employees had, and we will pay it out of probation user fees.
I think we should table this. I think that we should table this and let the committee meet and we can figure it out.
Okay,
Get back to you.
okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or anything else you need from me in the meantime?
We may not be done with this, Jenna.
Huh?
On the other items you had,
For the salary increases?
yeah, to make up the difference between the actual salary and your
Yeah, do you
grant.
want me to, are you gonna explain that, or you want me to?
This has been one hard one to unravel for me today. I think we still have to do an additional appropriation. Let me defer to the county
Okay.
auditor for advice on this.
Yes,
We
if
did.
you want to pay that extra money to those other two, you still have to request that additional appropriation, and the council still has to approve it, because it can't be paid directly from the fund where the money's
Okay, so
ultimately
I
coming.
take back that I'm not doing the additionals.
Sorry.
There are 2 other additional requests there. This is for the 2 probation officers that were hired through the grant. The grant has capped salary at $35,000. However, the state requires a salary statute be followed. By law, it has to be followed. So we have reached where it's over $35,000. So there is a administrative fee that is collected. It's the first fee collected. It is by statute. The fund was actually created in order to compensate counties for when the salary increases, the year that the salary increases, it's to be used for probation salaries only. So the additional I'm asking for is in the county general. But then that will be paid back from the administrative fee. That money will be transferred to county general to cover I'm not making sense.
Okay, let me see if I understand this. You've got probation officers paid from the grant.
Right,
Their salaries don't match what the state requires their salaries to meet.
correct.
So you want monies out of the general fund for being reimbursed by you from another fund.
From, yeah, the administrative fees that are collected through the probation department.
You done a good job of explaining
You
that.
actually
Frank.
did do a good job, I'm impressed.
Charge Whalen is $1,300 short from where he's supposed to be.
I'm sorry, what?
Charles is about $1,392 short of where he's
Yeah.
supposed to be.
We have two officers that they're both in their first year and on the salary schedule for 2018. It should raise to $36,392. So $35,000 is going to be paid out of the DSC grant. The difference I have is $1,392 per officer. So I have to come up with that difference.
And this requirement is that a DOC requirement or is it by statute, do you know?
It's by the salary schedule,
Yes.
it's by statute.
Okay, all right. What they've done is basically incorporated matrix of raises and incorporated it into statute, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Now, this reimbursement, finally, at the end of this procedure, comes from your Fund 2000 administrative fees.
Correct. It is a separate fund, and and by statute, we have to collect that money first. It's a $100 one-time fee for felony probation, $50 one-time fee for misdemeanor probation, and we deposit that money specifically into the administrative fee fund, and we don't touch it. It is specifically for reimbursing the county for salary schedule adjustments from year to year. I don't even use it like when I'm budgeting for county general, I don't touch it. It just gets transferred to county general.
Well, this situation is a little different than the one we were just talking about. What Jen
Right.
says, we're required by statute to do it, so we really don't have a choice.
But Jen she's got her back up against the wall on this one.
Right.
But today, I think her and Jane found a way to work this out without us actually spending county general money. It'll be, in the end, it'll be the administration fees making up this difference.
So we need to approve the additional appropriation, and then the method will be determined by her and the Madam Auditor, correct?
That's right. And they have worked it out.
Okay, given that, I will move to approve, and you correct me with the names, move to approve the additional appropriation for Charles Whalen, Lindsay Tandy, and anyone else, just those two?
That would be it, and then
Okay.
I have an additional for Jeff Coleman separate, was the first one that I presented
We
for
need to make a
administrative
motion to
assistant.
table that.
Yeah, we tabled that, so.
Right.
You
So
need
it's
to make
just
a
those
motion to
two.
table it.
I'm sorry.
We've got a motion on the table.
I know that.
Okay.
I'm
Okay,
just
I'll
telling
move
you.
my motion stands for Mr. Whalen and Ms. Tandy, and then I'll make one to table Mr. Coleman after the vote.
Well, I'll second your motion that you have on the table right now.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor to approve the additional appropriation request for both Charles Whalen and Lindsay Tandy, and a motion to table Mr. Coleman's additional appropriation until the committee has a chance to meet and discuss that. All those in favor of this motion, please, is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jen, appreciate it.
And if you need anything else, as far as Jeff Coleman's, if there's any other material you need, just let me know.
Okay.
Highway Department.
jump up at one. Who wants to do this one? Community crossing matching
I'll
grant,
bet
additional appropriation?
Warren would be good for that.
Highway.
Oh, Warren,
This is
So you remember the 300,000?
300,000 for Community Crossings Grant match. And we've got a grant from the state for paving, and we're advertising it for contractors at the present time, but we need 300,000 to match the grant, which is 25% of the total project cost.
the commissioners have to have their signed contracts next month, don't they?
April 15th.
April 15th.
These are the monies that we talked about at budget time,
Yes.
correct? Okay.
At that time, Frank, we knew that it was going to be in the $300,000 neighborhood, but we didn't know if there was going to be plus or minus a little bit. But Warren worked out the numbers to 300,000 as our share.
Is this the bituminous fund, so what this is? That's what we
No.
discussed taking out of it one time. It doesn't make a difference.
I don't think so,
Local roads and streets.
but Warren, what did you say the total value of the project was?
A little over $1 million. The grant was 860,000.
Okay.
So I've done an engineer's estimate, but I don't want to disclose it right now for the bidding purposes.
Yeah,
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
A motion to approve the additional appropriation in the amount of $300,000 for the highway department. Any further discussion? Seconded, any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody from the sheriff's department? Do we need anybody?
No, that one is, it just got skipped in the budget because we moved it from the jail budget to the sheriff budget. So
Okay.
when we took it off the jail budget, it just didn't get put on the sheriff. I'll take the blame for that one.
Okay, it's a additional appropriation for a jail sergeant stipend that was omitted from the budget by mistake. It's $1,000.
I'll move to approve the additional
And I'll
appropriation.
second.
We have a motion to approve, we have a second, any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the motion, additional appropriation request for the sheriff in the amount of $1,000, please do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. And then lastly, a transfer request from the prosecutor's office. It's to pay SCW invoices, desktop scanners for somebody in Crystal, new e-filing system, and Gilda's laptop. Sonia?
Sonia, yeah.
Yeah.
That's $500.
Motion to approve.
Okay, I'm looking, because I don't have the budget. The motion to approve? You have a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the transfer request, motion for the transfer request, in the amount of $500, please do so by indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Mr. Parker, did you have anything to share?
Sure.
I just want to report briefly. I know you're at the end of your meeting, so I won't belabor the fact. Just want to bring you up to date. There's been an inordinate amount of activity in the last 30 days. A lot of requests for information from IEDC, the counterpart of economic development that we work with. And we've nearly in every case applied back in some fashion or another, either with a building or with greenfield land. And all these come into me in some form of encrypted code, project names that don't make sense. Every now and then they'll say plastic extruder or aluminum extruder or something like that. And not that any of these were, they weren't, but they were just very general. But a lot of activity, and I've had, aside from those RFIs that we've responded back to, I've shown the building once yesterday and once today, which is kind of unheard of, specifically because of the rail spur. And both seem to be very impressed and very interested. So there is some activity going on from an attraction standpoint, and there's also a lot of activity in the Workforce Development Center that we are still pursuing and is still coming together. Latest addition was the manpower that kind of going through a soft opening right now. They are open. They're directly across the hall from what was Work One and is now Eastern Indiana Works. Eastern Indiana Works is the new name. Was before Work One, and really that's incorrect too. It was really the Alliance for Strategic Growth, which is a mouthful, and I'm glad they changed the name to Eastern Indiana Works. So a lot going on, a lot of activity. We've got more meetings and more things going on a large scale, and then a lot of smaller inquiries on revolving loans, local businesses downtown. I think that the Discover Connersville, the Main Street program is getting traction. A lot of good things happening there. So a lot of forward movement. I'm encouraged and happy. This is kind of a good time right now. And that's all I have, unless any of the council members have a question for me.
You're not going to give us any specifics?
I can't. I wish I could.
Okay.
And as soon as one of these bites or we get traction, I will be singing like a canary from the rooftops. I will be telling everyone. Dale, honestly, I will.
All right.
I don't like keeping secrets. I'd really like to share. Well, I really don't have anything to share because they keep it really from me. I guess they know I got a big mouth and I tell it all, so they keep it secret from me too. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you. Are there any patron concerns? If not, we'll end of our agenda.
I'll get one thing.
You're not a patron.
Yes, I am.
Go up there then.
I want to give kudos to Jane.
Yes. Let's tell her why, or?
Dale, you can elaborate, you have all the details. Can you elaborate on Jane's kudos that she did for the audit?
Oh, well, the State Board of Accounts has been in the building auditing past years, and they gave us a really big bill. Believe it or not, they don't come and audit you for free. They come and audit you, and then they charge you for their being here. What is it, $175 a day, Jane, per auditor, per day?
Yes.
And they, at one point, we had 6 of them in here working. So anyhow, they submit their bill. And the bill went from like, I can't remember the figures, almost like something like $30,000 down to 11,000 because Jane had the audacity to question their math.
That was awesome.
The State Board of Accounts had to admit that they were in error.
Wow.
And they're auditing us.
That's pretty satisfactory.
So, yes, Jane was very handy about saving us some money there by questioning their ability to work numbers, believe it or not. So, yeah, congratulations to Jane. She saved us money. She paid for herself this year.
Motion to adjourn?
I get, if that's the end of our Vaudeville act, I guess I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries, meeting adjourned.